Hi, and welcome to the SaVeg podcast. I'm Rose, and I'm a content creator going by the handle Cheap Lazy Vegan, and I also own a vegan cafe by the same name as the podcast, which is SaVeg Cafe.
And I'm Daniel, also a vegan, and one of your favorite guest stars on Cheap Lazy Vegan's YouTube channel.
We're two friends currently living in different countries, and we'll be giving our savage take on all things life, veganism, and the latest trending topics.
So basically, whatever comes to our minds, because we love to talk.
You are currently listening to the previous episode of this podcast, but if you would like to listen to this week's episode and get some exclusive content, go over to patreon.com/thesavagepodcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the SaVeg Podcast, episode 5054.
Yep, we're getting.
Actually, I have no idea what.
we're getting up there on episodes, aren't we?
Daniel is just on point with his grammar recently. Shall we talk about that, Daniel?
I'm struggling today, apparently.
He struggles on a regular basis.
Well, English is my first language, so
I know. So it must be difficult for you.
It's a challenge. Every day is a challenge.
Oh God, it must be hard to deal with me because I'm a bit of a grammar Nazi.
Oh, God damn, we won't even go there today, Rose.
Are we not going there?
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
Daniel loves me when I nag him about the grammar. Look, I just there's nothing that bugs me more than poor grammar. I'm sorry.
And my grammar's not the best, is it? On the best of days.
It's really not.
I swear it was an autocorrect situation, okay? I could have sworn I put then, not then.
Okay. So basically this morning I noticed that Daniel posted something on our Instagram page. By the way, follow us, instagram.com/thesavagepodcast. And he had posted something, and there was a then. I can't even say it. There was a
then instead of a then.
Yes, then grammar mistake, which to be fair, a lot of people make, and I'm sure I've made at some point in my life when I was 12. No, I'm just kidding.
No, the thing is,
and then I of course texted him, and I was like, "Great, what did I say?"
I don't know. Great grammar, Daniel. Something else. I can't remember.
I'm going to edit. Yeah. And then I think Daniel rolled his eyes at me.
I did, yeah.
He sent me a rolled eye emoji. I mean, the autocorrects seem to be happening very frequently, Daniel, on your end. Maybe you need to fix that iPhone of yours.
Well, you know that I have an iPhone 3 at the moment. So hopefully when I get back to Calgary, I'll get my whole life situation sorted. Probably not, though. I always struggle.
Wait, what is your iPhone at the moment?
It's like an iPhone. I think it's the SE. It looks like the 4, to be honest.
I thought you had a newer one, didn't you? Weren't you planning on getting a? Oh, okay. So you never got the new one.
Mm-mm. So when I get to Calgary, I think I might upgrade and get a new iPhone.
Yeah.
Because this one is. Yeah.
I mean, it's just writing your thens wrong. It's just making you make all these grammar mistakes and all these spelling errors.
Exactly. It's making my life difficult. And if I think about it, I know that you feel this way. And what about other people? When I'm texting them and stuff, they must think, oh my God, is Daniel in grade 3? He doesn't have proper grammar or anything. And it's just
Daniel, you might want to check the autocorrect on your computer as well, because it seems that the grammar mistakes are not just coming from your phone. Guys, it's SaVeg Hour.
It is.
Sorry.
It is the SaVeg Hour. I mean, should I have got... I should have got a box of tissues or something with me to prepare myself for this.
A bottle of wine?
Yeah. And a bottle of wine.
Look, you know what? Can I just say, I'm just glad we have a friendship where I can just say stuff like, look, you made a grammar mistake, and make fun of you about it.
That's true.
Or do you not want this kind of friendship? You can be honest.
I mean, I've had this friendship for what? How long? How many years have we been friends now, Rose? It's a long time.
Oh my God, it's been a decade, has it?
I think it's over a decade.
Longer than a decade.
Yeah, it's longer than a decade.
We met in 2009, I believe, or 2008.
Yeah, 2008. So a long ass time, and I've been dealing with this abuse for years. And that is why I need a psychotherapist, God damn. No, I mean, come on.
This is why Daniel has an alcohol problem.
No, don't worry, Rose. That started way before I met you.
I enhanced it.
Exactly, you did. You definitely.
Oh God.
You, me, and the den enhanced it. Okay, I think that's the root of my alcohol problem.
Look, you know what? Here's the thing. I like to believe that I am, how do I say? I give tough love. You know, if you make a mistake, I want you to know it and I want you to correct that mistake and learn better and become a better human with better grammar.
Exactly. Well, and you know, the thing is, I also dish it out. I'm not just sitting here. Do you know what I mean? Like there's been many times
exactly.
where, like, for example,
he just acts nice, guys. He just acts nice in front of the camera and acts all cute and innocent. Okay. But I'm telling you. Okay, what's the example?
I was gonna use like an example. Like if what I tend to do is I like not make fun of, but I like joke with situations. Like, but it is still kind of poking fun. So one thing that I do with Rose, because Rose is honestly probably the worst person for directions I've ever met in my entire life. So whenever we travel or do stuff, I'll always like purposely like give her little tasks of like directions and just like bug the shit out of her that she doesn't know where she's going. Like I'll be like, for example, like we were in a hotel in Malta and every time we went up the lift, we would always turn left to go to our room. And so I said to Rose, I was like, okay, Rose, I'm going to let you lead the way. We were in the hotel. We get out of the elevator and she turns right.
And you thought I was joking.
And I thought I was being... I know. I thought she was doing it on purpose as a joke, and I was like, no. She's not actually. She's gonna turn around. She's gonna turn around, and kept walking. And I was like, oh my god. So I did.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Yeah, you bug me all the time about my directions. Yeah.
I mean, or like when you had that cough.
That's a very mild example.
I know. Remember when?
Oh my god.
When
yeah.
You had
and
that
I was
cough.
like dying.
Yeah, I was savage.
And you just kept laughing at me. What a great friend.
It's because it was just so crazy how this cough lasted for like a week and a half, and it like didn't even subside at all.
Oh, I'm crying.
Oh
I'm crying.
God. Oh God. So
no,
yeah.
but seriously, I like the dynamic of our friendship because I like to be able to say, the truth sometimes,
exactly.
Yeah. So, and I want you to feel the same. If if my phone starts having some crazy autocorrect issues,
well, I'll let you know. Don't worry.
You let me know. But I mean, I doubt that will happen just because,
you turned autocorrect off, didn't you?
Oh yeah, exactly. I don't rely on autocorrect. You know what I'm saying? Anyways.
I know what you're saying.
Oh God, I'm already crying. It's like 9 a.m. and I'm just like, it's always a good time, Daniel. By the way, I just want to say, Daniel looks sharp as fuck.
Oh, me.
Look at you.
Me. Oh, thank you.
Look at the haircut you got.
I know,
like, what is going on?
I'm so happy, honestly. Like I was saying before in the last like couple episodes of the podcast, my hair has been getting crazier and crazier to the point like it was because even before the lockdown in Spain, that weekend that we locked down, I had already needed a haircut at that point, and I was going to go the following week, so my hair was already too long. And then we were in lockdown for like 2 months. So my hair was like actually ridiculous. So finally I was like, this week, a couple of the like barbers and stuff opened by appointment only. And I was like, I'm getting in there. I'm getting my hair cut. It was an emergency situation. So.
And it looks good. I mean, although I would have liked to see you with long hair because I've never seen that before.
I kind of wanted to keep a lot of the length on the top, but whenever I always tell them I'm like not too much length off the top, but I like the sides and back to be quite short. But they just cut it how they cut it. And I like it though. It turned out good.
It looks good.
So,
it looks good. Yeah.
Well,
and Daniel has a very good head of hair.
Rough for now.
Especially for someone reaching the 40s.
Oh,
no, I'm just kidding. We're the same age. I'm kidding, guys.
Oh my God. This really is Savage Hour. Holy shit. I should have brought my boxing gloves or something here. My goodness. Rose is going in for the jugular. Close to 40. Oh
my God. The comments are going to be like, Rose, stop bullying Daniel.
And also for all of you listeners that are over 40, it is a joke. Don't worry. We're just kidding around.
Totally joking. Yeah. I'm just saying Daniel looks, like your hair is nice, Well, you have a good head of hair.
I do have a lot of grays though. So I've been usually dyeing it, but.
You know what? I think grays are fine. Like I get grays as well.
Yeah. I think it's just natural.
It's sad because so many guys lose their hair. And that must be like traumatizing.
I think it would be brutal. Like, honestly, I think, yeah, because I know that I'm very particular about my hair. And if I like started like all of a sudden getting like a big bald patch at the back or like, I don't know, I would freak out. It would be a
lot of people. Yeah, it sucks because a lot of people, even young people in their 20s, get like receding hairlines.
It's the worst. I remember I met somebody in Newcastle. I was 25 and he was like friends of a friend and he was like 23 or 24. And he was bald.
Oh.
Like he couldn't grow hair on his head.
Causes? Is it just genetic?
Yeah, I was just like, oh my God. Some of it's genetic. And then also they say that some of it is like stress related and stuff as well. So like when you're really stressed, your hair falls out. It might grow back after you're not stressed. But again, who knows, right? So I think stress, but a lot of it's genetics. They say like if it runs in your family, like that you get particularly lots of grays or like, you know, hair falling out, then it kind of just sucks, you know?
I know, but I mean, to be fair, a lot of people have to deal with it. So you're not the only one. If you have a receding hairline, like so many guys have to deal with it, and you know they're living just fine. So, anyways,
that's my hairline definitely has gone back a bit.
Really, I don't notice it. It looks good, Daniel.
A little bit, just a little bit. I'm getting the little.
Well, I mean. Wow, look at that, guys! I wish you were watching on YouTube. If you're not watching on YouTube, go subscribe to our YouTube channel because Daniel just did a little dance.
I did a little dance for Rose. You know, I'm always dancing for Rose.
Anyways, oh my God! Sorry guys, we haven't chatted for a while, so
that's true.
I had to tease Daniel. You know, I have to have my weekly teasing session.
True.
Yeah. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about insecurities. Is that the one we're doing?
Yeah, we're going to talk about insecurities, some of our insecurities, potentially, how we've overcome those insecurities, maybe
how to deal with insecurities, not necessarily we've overcame those insecurities,
but true.
How to deal with the,
This is a tough one though, because I don't even really know how I deal with it. Like I don't know, like, I don't know. Rose, do you want to start us off?
We're very prepared, my friends. We are very prepared.
I've actually, for this particular episode, I'm not going to lie, I've done like zero research. I do apologize.
Well, I don't think this is something, I think this is just something we can discuss from our personal experience, because it's not really, you know, I mean, everyone has insecurities, you know, everyone has insecurities. I feel like no matter how old you have insecurities, but I think when you get older, you kind of like give less and less of a crap.
True. No, it is very true. Like naturally, as we age, it seems like, as we're getting older, some of the things that mattered a lot to us before are mattering less and less. And we are caring less about what other people think, I think, for the most part.
Yeah. So tip number 1, get older.
Yeah. Get old fast.
Age.
Yeah.
Aging is the best cure for insecurities.
But what do you think would be like, okay, for example, maybe this is like a cheesy one, but one way that I think would be a good way to kind of like deal with insecurities and things that you're not feeling great about is like surround yourself again. And I always say this, it sounds really cheesy, but like, you know, have like a support network, I guess. So like key individuals within your life that it doesn't have to be all of your friends, because, you know, you have a plethora of friends or whoever else, but have like those key kind of go-to people. So when you are feeling really insecure about stuff, you can kind of talk to those people, the support network, and just kind of work through it. Because I feel like, honestly, for me, quite often when I'm feeling insecure about certain things, that really helps me by like talking to other people and, you know, have your little like, the cheerleading squad,
meltdown?
If you will. No.
Oh, yeah.
A meltdown. No, I was going to go there, but like your little cheerleading squad to like pep you up and get you back to feeling like I'm ready to take on Rose, you know?
Like have someone to talk to or someone that doesn't, like, I guess that is definitely a big cause of insecurity sometimes. Is like if you're just surrounded by people that are bringing you down all the time, not just in the friendly way that I, you know, tease Daniel, okay, but but if people are just constantly just, you know, putting you down, then, because I've seen it in like even in relationships where
100%.
You know, people are just putting each other down. And, you know, that can't be good for anyone. That can't 100%. Be good for anyone's self-esteem. So that is a good tip, is try to, you know, surround yourself with people that aren't necessarily going to always bring you down. But obviously that's easier said than done, because if it's like your family and stuff.
But I think what I mean by that as well is like, let's say you have like so many people in your life, is identify of those people in your life who are the one or two key people that you can like talk to about anything. Do you know what I mean? Like try to, and I know again, easier said than done. It doesn't have to be all of your friends because all of your friends are never going to be that for you, you know? But those key kind of individuals that you feel comfortable going to. And so when shit does hit the fan or you're feeling really, really insecure about whatever, you can go to those people right away, right?
Right. So what would you say if somebody didn't have, you know,
that support network?
Someone, that support.
I don't know, like, cause I guess. Well, no, I do know. Well, not I do know, but like, for example, if you don't have that support network, one thing that you can do, which again is all of this stuff is easier said than done, but you could look at and identify what the particular insecurity is. And try to identify why it's making you insecure. So kind of do a self-reflection and say, okay, for example, if it's your job, you feel insignificant, you feel really insecure about what you're doing for a career or whatever, you could take a step back, look at it, okay, and I try to identify why that's the case. And then by doing that, you can kind of look at ways to change the situation if it's making you feel so bad about yourself. So I think that could be one thing. What would you think? Like that's kind of,
I think that's good advice. I think, you know, there's that old saying that's like, if you, what was it? If you're unhappy about, I'm paraphrasing. If you're unhappy about something, change it. If you can't change it, learn to live with it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, it's, you know, that's why I believe in, for example, you know, obviously if you have certain insecurities, there are a lot of things that you can do to actually work toward, you know, just being more confident in that situation. For example, if you're like really bad at, give me an example of something. I don't know.
Let's say you're really bad at singing.
You're really bad at singing. I mean, do you have to sing? No, you don't necessarily. Or you could like practice and try to be better.
Exactly. So I think a key thing. So like, I think one of the first, not the first steps, but even before you maybe even talk to your support group, or if you don't have a support group, one of the first things is identify what exactly is making you feel insecure and then why that's making you feel insecure.
Right.
Yeah.
And does it even matter, right? That's another thing that you can ask, because it's like, we're never going to be good at everything. We're never going to be completely confident with everything we do.
Exactly.
Just because somebody is confident in one aspect of their lives doesn't mean they're confident in every aspect of their lives. For example, we probably look confident generally overall.
Yeah.
And we are overall probably pretty confident, but there are certain things that we are really insecure about. We may not show it as much, but we are insecure. We will talk about our own insecurities.
We will.
And yeah, Daniel, that be part of this chat.
Oh, God damn. Okay.
Oh, God damn, you be ready.
Kind of.
I hope that's wine in your cup.
It's gin.
Gin, you needed something strong for this conversation.
Did. I just
oh God.
Speaking of which, okay, I know we're like all over the place today. I just pulled up this thing. I was just like looking.
What did you pull up?
I was
about insecurities.
Yeah, I was just googling just like random stuff, and this is like, it's like a couple different strategies for dealing with insecurity. So I thought we could talk about these as well, just to kind of
sure
direct our conversation.
Well, should we talk about our insecurities first?
Yeah.
To give people a little bit of a insight into our psyche.
Oh God. Okay. So do you want to?
What would you say?
Do you want to start?
Okay,
Rose?
I'll start. I can start. I mean, I'm sure there's more.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot.
Yeah.
But definitely, I think you and I both have a little bit of a weight insecurity or a body image insecurity. Not necessarily weight, but body image insecurity. So I talk about this a lot. But when I was like younger, when I was like a kid, I was like average, like healthy weight, definitely not overweight. But then when I turned like 11 or 12, I gained a bunch of weight in a very short period of time. Yeah. And I moved schools at that time. I remember I had moved to a different school. I was going into grade 5 and I literally like ballooned up basically before going to grade 5. Yeah. And then, yeah, so I was like chubby. Like I wasn't extremely obese, but I was like definitely on the chubbier side. And that's when like, and obviously I was like 11 or 12 years old. And that's the time when, you know, you start to kind of care a little bit about what you look like.
Yeah.
And you start to kind of, you know, yeah, you kind of become a teenager at that time. So I think I became like super insecure during that time because, you know, I gained all this weight and I wanted to look good. But then, you know, everyone around me was basically telling me that I was, you know, fat.
Yeah.
and especially when you're an Asian, because Asian people, they always talk about, you know, oh, like you gained some weight. Oh, like they very easily tell people that they're like fat or like they've gained weight.
And do you think also because, I mean, not because, but this is like another thing too, like for especially like in Korea and stuff, people are generally more petite. So like,
yes.
So if you are a bit bigger in Korea, it really stands out and people will like notice. And like you as a Korean coming to Canada and stuff in the Korean community and probably like within the Asian community as well, they'll be like, whoa, okay, who's this girl?
Yeah, for sure. So like in Korea, people are generally, I mean, I'm not sure about anymore. I'm sure like now there's more people that are overweight, which is, I mean, that's a different topic. Yeah. But because, and also Korea is like what's considered like a conformist type society where people conform to the norm. So if you're different, it's not necessarily looked at as a good thing, especially if you're different in that way of like being overweight. So, and people will like call it out. So every single, like my parent, I mean, of course my parents, I'm sure they were concerned about me. So that's like a different situation. Yeah. So they would say stuff like, you know, you should, you know, try to, you know, not be fat or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, I'm sure, no, they said it in a nicer way, I'm sure, or like a more productive way. But then I'd have like my parents' friends commenting on my weight. I would have my friends commenting on my weight, my friends' parents commenting on my weight, just every angle. Yeah. And that's why I feel it when, you know, when people are talking about, you know, when they're overweight, for example, that's literally all people can see. And that's how I felt. It's like there was nothing else about me that mattered other than the fact that I was overweight.
Well, especially,
you know?
especially when people, that's the first thing that they're talking about or pointing out, it makes you feel like that's all they're caring about. Do you know what I mean? They're not talking about, oh, you're doing really well in school or whatever else. They're being like, oh my God, you need to maybe, you know, slow down on the, whatever you're eating and, you know, take it.
That's like all that ever mattered.
Yeah. And that's hard, you know, especially at that age, like, you know, and kids around that age can be mean.
So mean. Yeah. Kids are so mean. Can I give you some examples of how, like, look, I never got bullied, I wouldn't say, because I think I have a pretty strong personality. So like, I probably would not let that happen, but not that I wouldn't let that happen. That sounds like people that get bullied, let that happen. That's not what I meant. I feel like, because I have a strong personality, like it's less likely that someone is gonna
you'd be less of a target because people would know that you would mouth back or you would stand your ground. Not saying that people that get picked on don't do that, but for whatever reason, this was your reality. Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, at that time, I'm not sure how strong of my personality was. Maybe I became stronger personality because of, you know, because I was like, I didn't want to be picked on or something. Yeah. I don't know. It could be one or the other. Anyway, I remember like you know, it's funny how these little things I remember because they were so like traumatizing.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember much from when I was in grade 5. So I remember a few instances. For example, kids are so mean at that time. Yeah. You know, I'm sure I was mean as well because when you're that age, like you just don't realize how mean you're being. Anyway, so I remember my friends would be like, I remember this one time my friend was like, oh, we should play Piggy in the middle. Rose can be in the middle.
Oh, Rose, that's so mean.
Another instance, oh my God, so many. I have so many. And then 2 times I remember my friends' parents, would say stuff to me. And I'm like, a little inappropriate as an adult to be, you know, teasing a child about their weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
especially if you're
inappropriate.
not a parent.
Yeah.
Like, again, if you're a parent, a concerned parent about your child being overweight, then you could talk to them in a serious manner without teasing them or help them, you know, direct them toward a healthier lifestyle perhaps.
Yeah.
But I remember I was having a sleepover at my friend's birthday. So I was at her house with like a few other girls. There was probably like, I don't know, 6 or 7 of us. And we were all trying to fit in our sleeping bags in her bedroom. And we're trying to like find room. And her mom was like, looked at me in front of all of my friends and was like, Rose, we can't fit you in here because you're too fat.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I was like, even my friend, I was in grade 5,
Yeah.
and even my friend was like, Mom.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I was like, yeah. Anyway, those are 2 traumatizing experiences.
That's crazy. That is actually really crazy.
Yeah.
See, like,
so anyways.
yeah, so I have like, when I was in junior high and high school, well, more like elementary, junior high. So I was like always, when I was younger, like up until about grade 6 or 7, I was like really, really small, like petite, really thin. I was shorter. I'd always be the kid at the front of the like school picture holding the sign and whatever else. And then,
really?
yeah. And then I went,
and Daniel is tall now,
I know, and then,
aren't you?
And then I went through a growth spurt. But then I also got like really awkward and like a bit, I never got really big at all, but I did have those like insecurities because I never had like either a nice, like not a nice body, but like, you know, traditionally like a good body. But I never remember kids specifically picking on me for that. What I do remember kids specifically picking on me was for being effeminate. So, and I'm more effeminate now than I was back then, because back then obviously I was, you know, not out of the closet and everything else. And there was a few instances, one that really sticks in my mind. I used to take the bus home from school, and there's a bunch of kids on the bus or whatever, and I can't remember what happened. I got off the bus. I didn't actually hear this. I found out about it later because one of my friends was still on the bus and told me. And apparently after I left, all the kids were talking about like, there goes the fruit cake, blah, 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 all this stuff. Yeah, to me, which is so sad. And then apparently the bus driver like stopped the bus, pulled the bus over to the side. But then the bus driver turned around. I know she was just trying to be supportive. But then she was like, look, it's not his fault that he's a fairy, but you guys, you can't be making fun of, you can't be like making fun of him and stuff. Yeah. So
she said it in those words.
Yeah.
It's not his fault that he's a fairy.
Yeah. And another.
Oh my God. I love how she was like, I mean, I guess she was trying to help you, but like,
she's trying to stand
holy.
up. And then another kid that I remember specifically, I was going to get my ear pierced back in the day. And I remember there was like that whole thing, like if you got your ear pierced on a certain way, it meant that you were like whatever. I can't remember which one it was. I don't even know now.
That you were gay. Yeah, like if you got your ear pierced on either left or right ear, then that means you're gay or something like that.
And I remember speaking with some people, and again, it was on the bus. And one of the kids was like, oh, well, Daniel, you should probably get your whatever ear pierced because clearly you swing that way or something. And at the time, I was like,
what grade were you in?
That was grade 6.
Oh God.
Yeah.
See, that age, grade 5, grade 6, grade 7, I swear, this is when kids are the evilest.
Yeah. So ever since then, I felt really like self-conscious about being too effeminate.
Right.
Even though now not so much. Like I've kind of like, as I've gotten older, like we were saying earlier, I've gotten to terms with it. But back then I was like so nervous about being too effeminate, I guess. Because I was like, oh, I don't want people.
So were you trying to be more masculine during that time, do you think?
Yeah, I was trying. Like I was just kind of like, I've never been a super masculine guy. Like, but I definitely like put it on a bit more just to try to like fit in at school and stuff. Cause I didn't want that, you know, that kind of stuff happening.
Yeah.
So that was my kind of insecurity back in the day.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I mean, are these even, I feel like we're just talking about the ways that kids were mean to us.
No, but it kind of stems. It's kind of like it does stem insecurities. You know what I mean? Like I'm still 100%. To this day, like we're both like this with our. And I do think this is like a very common insecurity about people with their body image, like body shape and size.
But you didn't have that real body image. Like you didn't get made fun of for your body.
I didn't
image
have shaming. No, I didn't have any like anyone like make fun of me.
Right. That's interesting.
But I did have. I remember some events that happened a little bit later in life. Like I remember I was out at the gay bar. And one guy commented, he was like, I was talking to my friend. I don't even know what we were talking about, like getting more into shape and whatever else. And this guy like came up to me and like grabbed my leg for whatever. It was so random, like things that happen in a bar. And he was like, yeah, you should definitely get on that. And I was like,
oh my God.
Yeah, it was like,
oh God.
And I do feel like in the kind of, and I had another instance in London. Sorry, I'm like going all over the place with this.
Okay, no, do it.
But
yeah.
Actually, I don't know if I should say this on the podcast because it's a bit awkward.
Say it. Say it.
I was like seeing this Italian guy. Well.
Oh, you talked about this in one of our podcasts, didn't you not?
I can't remember.
Or no?
Maybe.
Okay, tell me.
And basically, we were going back to my place, and you know, going to do things.
Yeah.
And I remember him being like, he was just like, oh yeah, I can't remember. He commented something about like my hair being too long, and because I was like, I don't know, it was
Jesus.
like, and then he was like, also that I should consider going to the gym. And then that's when I told him, and that's when I told him to get the fuck out of my house.
Good job. See, you got to stand up for yourself.
But it still hurt. Like, it's still like upsetting.
Of course.
You know? I was just like,
of course.
yeah.
I mean, it's definitely, it's still upsetting for sure when people comment. And even, to this day, I'm sure if somebody commented on anything, we would be upset, especially something that we're already a little bit insecure about. If somebody comments on that, then it makes it even worse.
Exactly.
But I think especially when you're young, like at your age of grade 6, when people were making fun of you about that, and my age of grade 5 or grade 6, it's like that stuff will stick with you
forever.
You know, forever.
God damn, we ain't never gonna get rid of it, you know?
But that's why I'm like, you know, I think that's partially why I, you know, try to always like stay fit and stuff. I'm sure, of course, even if I wasn't made fun of, I'm sure I would still be, you know, a little bit insecure if I, you know, whatever it is. But I think that because I have that experience of like being, you know, a chubby teenager, I am a lot more insecure about my weight.
Yeah.
Like even now, even though I know I'm like at a healthy weight, I still feel like, oh, I could, you know, I want to lose some weight.
Yeah.
I don't know, but maybe that's normal. I don't know.
I don't know. I think with body image and like with weight, I think, and this is it's kind of annoying. It's like no matter what goal or weight that we achieve, I still think that we'll be always, you always want more. 'Cause like, even if we had like ridiculous abs and all of this kind of stuff, there'd be something else that we'd be like, oh, actually, I wish my butt was a little bigger.
Do you think so?
I really do, because I've met people that have like bodies that could be on the covers of like magazines, Sports Illustrated magazines and stuff, and they're still talking about, oh, I need to improve this part of my body, need to do this, blah 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 blah. So I think it's like a never-ending cycle, unfortunately.
Oh god damn, that'd be sad.
It'd be sad as hell. What's some other stuff that like well, do you think you're insecure about your body image more than other things? It goes in ebbs and flows. So I think sometimes I am, like, sometimes I get really self-conscious, and I do feel like, you know, I want to get into a certain shape, and I've struggled with that because I can never seem to. But again, I go back and forth because I like to go out and drink and have nice meals with friends, and then on the same time I'm like, oh, I want to achieve this certain look. So in some ways I've come to terms that I'm never going to be never going to have a six pack and all that stuff. But on other sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish I could, you know?
Right.
I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know. What about you?
I think if I definitely, like when I gain some weight, let's say I gain like 5 pounds, or if I see that I've gained a bit of fat, then I definitely, like, my insecurities like heighten. And then I get like a little like alert, like something goes off, and then I'm like, oh shit, need to stop snacking so much or eating so much junk food.
True.
So but I guess it's kind of good because it's not every day where I'm like I'm not like standing in front of the mirror like pinching my fat and like, you know, I used to do that like when I was younger. Like I used to look at my fat and be like, oh my god, I'm so gross, like blah blah blah. But I think, like, again, over time, because we've gotten older and, you know, we've just kind of accepted that maybe this is just our bodies. Yeah. And, you know, some days I look at the mirror and I'm like, oh, I look good. Like, I look fine. But then if I gain a little bit of weight, then I definitely notice it more. And then I, you know, that the alert goes off. And then I'm like, okay, maybe I need to, like, be a bit careful. Yeah, I do think it's an interesting one because you can also get, like, a really positive feeling. So, like, I noticed, like, recently that I've, like, I don't even know how this has happened during the quarantine. I've been keeping up, trying to keep up with fitness, but I've been like laying around the house a lot, you know, at the same time, like still doing stuff on the computer and everything, but not super active, relative. And somehow I've managed to kind of like tone up a bit and stuff. And I happened to catch my reflection the other day and I sent a picture to Rose because I was like, oh my God, like, well, I'm looking at... You be looking good, Daniel.
And so I think it's interesting how you can get that like euphoric feeling as well from that. Like it almost like releases, you're like, oh God, is that me? God damn.
Yeah. Is that healthy though?
I don't know.
Like, I mean, I guess it's good. I mean, it makes sense because like, I mean, I feel like I definitely do feel like I look better when I am, at a certain weight,
Yeah.
obviously, and I'm sure that weight depends on, everybody. And, some people just don't care. And that's probably the best.
Yeah.
But, I definitely feel like there's a certain weight that I am like, oh, like, damn, like I look pretty good. Like I could deal with this. Okay.
Yeah.
But then if I go above that, I feel like, okay, I could definitely look better. And because I have been, again, like at a weight where I felt like I looked really good, I think that's where I keep going back to. I'm like, oh, damn, I want to look like that again,
But we did talk about that in the other episode. That again, having these certain expectations on ourselves, we have to realize, like, even when we look at pictures of our younger selves, for example, some of the sacrifices or things that we gave up to look a certain way at that time, and we sometimes forget about that. So I think, it's hard. I mean, I'm constantly striving to have a good relationship with my body and everything else, and I think it's going to be a constant kind of ongoing thing. And I think it's just an insecurity that we just have to kind of come to terms with and realize, what's important in the grand scheme of things, like what's important and what we'd have to give up to look certain ways and everything else, and kind of start to get a little bit more happy with the skin that we're in, Yeah.
And I think it is about balance as well. 'Cause like, we're not saying that you should just give up because how do I say? We're not saying that, if you have an insecurity, you should just deal with it and not like, not work toward, bettering yourself.
Exactly.
Because you have to kind of find a balance. It's kind of hard because on one hand, you don't want to be obsessive about, how you look or something. But on the other hand, you want to strive toward, just kind of becoming a little bit better version of yourself every day, which is why, we still work out and, we try to eat healthy. We try to watch what we eat. We try to find that balance. And if I feel like I'm, how do I say, letting myself go, then I try to like push myself, what do you call it? Try to, reel it back in, reel it back in.
That's a really good point, because I think one of the ways to deal with an insecurity, and also a way that's in a really positive way, is to take the insecurity and look at it as an opportunity for growth. So I think that you make a really good point there, in a sense that, you might have an insecurity about something. So let's say your insecurity is singing, right? Like we mentioned before, or your insecurity is presenting at board meetings. Because I used to have a little bit of an insecurity of presenting. Like I still sometimes get a bit nervous and stuff, but I took that, and in university, how we have so many presentations, and I've just practiced a lot, and I've developed a skill now where I'm better at presenting. And I used that insecurity to grow, identify that it was something that I was uncomfortable doing, and it made me a bit insecure. So you look at that as an opportunity for self-growth, I think, and that's a good way a really proactive and positive way to deal with your insecurities. So like, again, one of the ways that we deal with our kind of body image insecurity is we do regular fitness, and I think that's a very positive way to deal with it, because, there's nothing wrong with actually going to the gym and wanting to stay relatively fit. So that's a really positive way to deal with an insecurity that we're having, so around body image. So exactly. And that's probably the best way to try to deal with a big insecurity of yours, is just not expecting some sort of grand result, but having little steps, maybe every day or in your routine, or trying to do little things to just ease the insecurity a little bit. Because most of the time, a lot of insecurities, especially when it comes to something like presenting or like fear of crowds or whatever it is, it may be, or singing, whatever it is, a lot of those things you can improve on. So there's always room for improvement. It's usually because you just don't have experience doing a lot of these things. Well, this is the thing. That's where a lot of insecurities do stem from. So we kind of just talked about our insecurities from childhood around weight and around, being effeminate. But, throughout life, we've had lots of insecurities around, like I had one around presenting, which I mentioned. What are some other ones I've had?
What's another insecurity that Daniel has had?
Let me think for a second. I should have.
You don't have many insecurities.
No, I definitely do. I don't really like public speaking, so that's another insecurity, and I think that comes to mind with like I
don't believe that for a minute.
It's true. God damn, I get nervous when there be a big crowd. This be different because it's just us.
You're good at, I've seen you public speaking. We've been in the same courses.
God
You be fine.
God damn, but it makes me nervous as hell. So
I mean, I think that's normal.
yeah, one of my insecurities was around that. And I think, again, what I did is I practiced the hell out of anything that I have to do with public speaking. So anytime I have, like, in the corporate world, if I have like board meetings or whatever else it may be, well, back when I was working corporate, I would just make sure, like, I know that what my insecurity stemmed from when it was with regards to presentations and any kind of form of public speaking. Well, it stems from two things. Well, obviously being nervous and not having enough, not doing it enough time. So the more I did it, the more confident I got. But also, I really, really have to fundamentally understand the material that I'm talking about. So, like, I get very insecure. I'm not one of those people that I might seem like I can just roll on the fly. I can kind of, but it makes me feel so insecure and so out of my comfort zone that I much prefer that I know the ins and outs of, like, a product or whatever it is that I'm presenting on, as long as I know, because that way I think my insecurity is, like, I'm always worried that people are going to ask me questions and I'm not going to be able to answer. So, like, if I know the thing inside out, I'm very, very confident to be able to react to anything that's happening in the room.
Right. So basically you don't want people to look at you and think that you don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. No, that's it. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
So
no, I'm the same. Like, I can't really, you know how people say, like, fake it till you make it? Like, I can't fake it because I'm like, if I don't know what I'm talking about, then I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know.
That's just it. It's like I'm not gonna be able to keep going on about something, especially if it's like a complicated subject. I'm just gonna feel like an idiot. It's gonna make me feel really stupid and very much out of my comfort zone.
Right.
What about you, Roses? Come on, talk about another one.
Insecurity.
Yeah. And then I'll go through this list of things.
Oh, goddamn, the helpful things that you could do. Yeah. Goddamn. Well, another big insecurity of mine that comes from also my child. Well, this isn't coming from my childhood because it was, like, super traumatic, but it's just something I've never been good at is sports. I am so bad at sports,
really?
My friends. Yes, I am very bad at sports.
I did not know this about you.
I have never been good. Yeah, it's because I mean, one good thing is that after, like, grade school, you don't really, like, have to participate in sports.
This is so true.
Because in grade school, you have to go to gym and participate in sports. So, like, those insecurities were always there because, you know, I have to deal with them. But afterwards, it's like, I don't have to go and, you know, participate in soccer or basketball. So it's not something that came up. So, but when I was in grade school, and still now, if somebody's like, let's go play soccer, I'm like, nope. I'm like, nope.
It's funny because I don't think we have never played sports together, have we?
Because I don't play sports.
I know. It's so
Look,
it's
this
so
is
funny.
why I go to the gym.
Yeah.
This is why I have to work out and do. Look, this is why I have to work out and I have to, you know, do personal fitness because if I don't do that, then I'm not going to be active in any other way because I don't play sports.
Yeah.
So I've always been really bad at sports. And I remember another traumatizing experience.
Let's hear it.
So back in, I moved to Canada when I was 8. So I did grade 1 and 2 in Korea. So when I was in grade 1 and 2, I'm sure both years, I can't remember exactly, but they would have this thing. It was like sports day.
Oh, we had
so
that.
Every year. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe that's like it's a global thing. Okay. So every year there'd be like a sports day. And again, I don't remember anything. I barely remember much from my, like, grade 1 and 2 years.
Of course, yeah.
But there's specific things that stand out. So they had annual sports day, and they would make, I don't know if in Canada they would make the kids, like, compete, like, to that level, but they would do all kinds of stuff. Like, there was, like, tug of war, but there was also, like, a sprinting, like a race.
We had this as well.
Really?
The sprinting, we had the different heats, and everyone had to participate, and you were, like, in different heats.
Oh, okay. I don't even think we had different heats. They would just put random kids. I mean, obviously same grade.
Yeah.
And there would be, like, maybe 6 at a time. So you would have to sprint.
And everyone would watch you.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was traumatizing. And I was always last. And I think one time I cried.
Yeah.
Because I was, like, just so embarrassed because everyone was watching and I would always be last.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to do this fucking thing.
It's so funny that you say that because I did something similar.
Yeah.
Like, well, I always had sports days. Like, I'm in all of my schools that I went to, pretty much. Even in junior high, I think we had a sports day. But I remember, I can't remember if it was in elementary or I think it was elementary. Yeah, it was like grade 6. And there was, like, this, like, running group or something. And I remember, I vaguely remember I joined, and I was a team of 3. So it was me and these 2 other guys. And we ran this race. And basically the way that you like would place is the average of your 3 team members. So however your team members did in their time, you average that, and that would be like your score. Anyways, these 2 guys were like athletes. I don't even know how I ended up on this thing with these 2 guys. I have no idea. But they were like athletes, super good at running. And I just remember I came in, and it was competing against other schools and stuff as well. It wasn't like our school there. It was like random other schools. And I just remember that I just did so terribly, and I brought the team, our like little 3 team average down. And I was so embarrassed, and I was just like, oh my God, like I want to like.
What grade were you in?
I think I'm pretty sure it was grade 6. Like I'm like 99% sure it was grade 6. And I don't honestly, I don't even know. First of all, why I would sign up to that, because it wasn't like a school thing. It was just like us 3 from our school. So I'm like, don't know how I don't remember why I signed up. And like, I just was so embarrassed, and I was like, "Oh my God!" Like bringing the whole team down because I couldn't run. I was like,
"Yeah, that was basically me in every gym class." So, I mean, we would have, you know how you have gym and then you have teams of, you know, when you play sports, you have 2 teams, and then there's like a captain that picks, you know, that picks the kids from the crowd. I would always get picked last.
Oh,
it was so embarrassing.
Yeah. To be fair, I often got picked last as well.
Really?
Yeah. It wasn't for my athletic
ability.
Were you
bad at sports too?
Because I was a flaming homo. So
shut up. Are you joking?
A lot of the time, and like it was so funny because I remember in because I took gym for grade 10 and 11 in high school. And I remember a lot of the time, like whenever there was team captains, it was always like the super athletic guys, and like they would always, because I'm not actually that bad at sports, like I'm actually decent at some sports, not all of them. And I remember I'd always like quite often get picked towards the end, and then people would always be surprised when I was like decent. They're like, "Oh God, like you're actually okay at it. Like I thought you would suck." And I was like, "Thanks," you know.
Right, because you're like a little bit more feminine. Exactly. They think like you throw like a girl or something.
Well, that's just it. They'll be like, "Oh well," or they just didn't want me on their team or whatever, you know.
Yeah. God damn.
People be mean as
hell.
Yeah.
Oh God damn. Kids are so mean.
Yeah.
Honestly. And I think it's also because kids have insecurities. So every kid has their own insecurities. And then when they feel insecure, they want to, you know, project that onto somebody else 100%. So that they feel superior. So that's why, I mean,
it makes them feel better about themselves. That's the key thing of bullying. You know what I mean? Like a bully, the reason they're doing that is because like inside, because it's interesting because like since I've become an adult, like, okay, don't get me wrong. Again, we've talked about insecurities we've had throughout our lives, but since I've become an adult, like I haven't had to deal with bullies at all. You know what I mean? It was just in school primarily. I mean, I know there's still people out there that are probably bullies, but yeah. Yeah,
definitely. It's not, you know, it's definitely, this is why like when you're in high school, you think this is like my world. Mm-hmm. This is my life. You know, you never realize that there's so much outside of high school.
So much more out there.
Yeah. But then you think like, oh my God, this is like my reality. So I think kids get, you know, when they get bullied, they think like, this is going to be my life.
Yeah.
You know? And that's why there's a lot of kids that might commit suicide and stuff because they get bullied. And it's so sad because I just want to tell them, especially even like the bullies, I want to tell them like, dude, you're going to be embarrassed by this 100%. In a few years.
Because actually there's,
you know?
like, I never like really, I don't remember, like I never would really bully anyone, but I do remember there was like, I've had a few like, not altercations, but things from high school, like falling outs with people, this kind of stuff that I'm not the most proud of, or you know what I mean, that I'm looking back, I'm like, oh, I wish that I would have handled that better. I think I did tell you about one girl from years ago that I had a falling out with, and she ran into me at the gay bar. I told you that she came up to me and apologized, right?
Oh, I think you told me.
Yeah. So basically,
can you tell me a little bit more detail?
Yeah, I'll just quickly run through this, and then we'll go through these like some tips for people listening, if you're still listening at this point.
Oh God,
on how to deal with some insecurities. But anyway, this one girl that I knew from, she didn't even go to my high school or junior high or anything. I just knew her through friends of friends. She was just like, I had a falling out with some individuals, and she was just like super, super mean to me, like calling me like flaming homo and just like really not nice, you know, really, really unpleasant.
Yeah.
And said a lot of stuff behind my back. Anyway, years later, I think I was like 20 or, and this happened like 6 or 7 years before. She saw me I was at the gay bar with some friends, and she like came up to me and she's like, look, Daniel, can we have a quick word? And I was like, yeah, of course. You know what I mean? Cause I don't really like hold grudges from that time. You know what I mean? It's like in the past, we were kids. And obviously it had been bothering her. Like she felt really, really bad. And she was just like, Daniel, I just want to let you know, like, I'm just really sorry for the way things went and how I acted and everything else. And I was like, honestly, it's in the past. Like, I don't even think about that anymore. Like it is what it is. But actually it's quite big of you to like come up to me now and just, still and apologize. I think that's really, really good. So it was crazy. But, I think a lot of us did things when we were children that we're not the most proud
100%.
of. And if we could go back, maybe we would, 2020 is a wonderful thing,
For sure.
Yeah.
I think, when you're a teenager, you just think so differently.
100%.
And then that's why sometimes I'm just like, damn, like what our parents had to go through raising us.
Well, my poor parents, mom and dad, if you're listening, I'm sorry.
We apologize.
Yeah, we apologize. So we're gonna.
Anyways, shall we go through this list?
Yeah, I'm gonna quickly run through it. So it's just a few like random strategies, but I thought some of them were kind of interesting. So should I just list them off quickly, or not quickly, but
we can discuss them. Yeah.
Exactly. So the first one, and again, these are for helping deal with insecurities. The first one is just. And we talked about this. The first step involves understanding your insecurity and understanding why it's making you feel the way that you feel. So kind of determining where your feelings of insecurity originate can help you discover how to kind of move forward from that insecurity, I guess. So that's number one, is identifying why and what the specific insecurity is, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. The second one, which we kind of talked about as well, is taking baby steps to grow. So I think this is the one about how you identify that you have an insecurity in a certain area. Now, what can you do about that? You can start taking classes if it's something that makes you nervous, or you can, do little things day by day to help you grow and become more confident around that insecurity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you agree with this so far?
Absolutely. Okay. We've already touched on these. Goddamn, exactly. we'd be professionals.
Exactly. So this one's an interesting one. So this one is saying living without your safety blanket. So the third strategy of how to deal with insecurity is to make yourself step outside of your comfort zone and remove usual precautions.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like the extreme version of the taking baby steps, isn't it?
True. So I think, it's like if you know that something is making you insecure or something that you don't feel confident doing, this is like saying, take away your safety blanket, take away and just kind of go for it and
just go and do it.
Dive
into the deep end.
Exactly.
I feel like that could also be good.
100%. Because if you think about it, like, it's like, what's an example? When you go camping for the summer and there's that lake and it's super, super cold, but it's hot and you want to go swimming. And if you start dipping a toe in, it's really cold and it takes you so long to get in, right? And eventually you get in. But if you just jump in, you just start swimming and you just get used to the cold temperature. I don't know if that's a good example at all, but
it is a good example. Although that might be a health hazard. I don't know.
Oh, true.
I don't know.
Depends how cold,
if it's too cold.
Depends
you might want to
is.
test out the waters first. God damn.
That's true.
But I mean, I get the analogy though. I get the analogy. For example, like one example is, I think we talked about before is, one of the insecurities that we both maybe had was like talking on the phone.
Oh,
like,
yes.
Yeah, in the business setting. And I remember my first job when I got to London was in recruitment, and I hated that job, but it definitely, I hated it for many reasons, but one thing that I am grateful for that experience was like, I was so confident by the end of working that job for a year in terms of talking on the phone, because they forced me to do like cold calling and like just picking up the phone in every single instance. So I basically like dove into the deep end, because even though I had worked in a professional setting before that, I had never, done like cold calling, or like it was never a phone heavy job before that. But then this job was so phone heavy. So I was like so uncomfortable, so out of my comfort zone. But by the end of that, I was like completely fine with talking on the phone. Yeah.
So, it's a similar thing that happened to me with work as well. Because when I got my job in London, again, we were working with a lot of like like a lot of our offices were international, like in parts of Europe and stuff. So I was forced to pick up the phone, call them, also other departments that were maybe in a different part of the city or a different part of the UK, calling them all the time. And my boss was just like, you need to talk to these people. Like I didn't have a choice about it. You know what I mean? And I remember the first little while I was so awkward and uncomfortable on the phone. And then towards the end of it, I was like, okay, what am I so worried about? Do you know what I mean? Like you start getting into the swing of it and you're like, okay, this isn't so bad.
That's true. Cause then you also rationalize it once you actually jump into it. You're like, I mean, is it really that bad? You kind of realize, okay, maybe it's not so bad. It's not like, I'm not going to die.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the fourth strategy is changing your perspective.
Interesting.
So
What you're not impressed with that one, Daniel?
I'm just like, oh, it's saying, okay, the example they use here is in a world full of negative images on the nightly news, everyone would do better to look at the positives in life. Try to think of yourself in another light. So maybe you have trouble handling stress in the workplace, but you're a good friend, for example. So
right.
you might have like an insecurity about what's going on at work or something else, but then taking a step back and looking at another good example, and we can cut this if you don't want me to talk about it, but a good example could be comments that we receive.
Oh, yeah, you can talk about it, yeah.
Okay, where, for example, we receive both positive and negative comments, and sometimes we can have a tendency to dwell or look at the negative ones and feel really insecure about something. But it's, again, taking that step back and looking at all the positive stuff that's coming through and like, actually, hang on a second. Change. So actually that makes sense. Changing your perspective.
It does make sense.
Now that we kind of dive a bit into it. So I think that's actually a really, really, really good one.
Yeah. And also, like we discussed in the beginning, we are never going to be good at everything. Yeah. And there's always going to be areas that we are uncomfortable with. Like, for example, for me, sports. I'm not good at sports. Probably will never be. Okay. Maybe I can get better.
Yeah.
But this is something I've just kind of accepted because it's not really important. It's not really like I have to go and play sports. You know, I can focus on other ways of being fit and I can focus on things I'm good at.
Exactly.
So yeah, that is a good tip. There's a lot of things that we're both good at. There's also probably a lot of things that we're not good at.
Exactly. So that's a good analogy of you changing your perspective about the sports thing.
Yeah.
You've accepted it. You've realized, okay, I'm not going to be an Olympic athlete, and that's okay because I'm good at all this other stuff over here. So that's totally fine. Like I'm going to deal with that. So that's actually I like that one now. Now that at first I was like having troubles with it, but no, I've changed my perspective. So the fifth strategy, which kind of is similar, but it's doing what you know best. So for dealing with the fifth strategy for dealing with an insecurity is finding something you are good at doing and doing it. So I guess again,
so ignoring the insecurity,
just like ignoring it, and
like I ignore the sports.
Yeah. Let's just see what else they said here. No, I think it's just like focusing on things that make you feel good and what you're good at doing.
Right.
The sixth strategy. And there's 7 in total.
How many are there?
7 in total.
Okay.
We're almost done. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So the sixth strategy to dealing with an insecurity, and I like this one a lot, is rewarding yourself for a job well done. So I think if you're dealing with an insecurity, and we mentioned it before about taking those baby steps to try to feel more confident, to not have that insecurity, it's to reward yourself when you make those small wins. So when you're like, I was really nervous about playing sports or something or whatever your insecurity is, but I did like a little match with some friends, or I was nervous about public speaking, but I went to this like public speaking seminar, and reward yourself for that and say, you know what, I'm taking those steps to make yourself, big yourself up a little bit,
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you ready for the seventh?
I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Final one. Okay.
Lay it on me, Daniel.
The 7th strategy is it is keeping a progress journal.
What was that accent about?
I don't know. God damn.
Journal.
It's like just on a side note, did you ever no, it was you I think it's you that sent me that video of the substitute teacher pronouncing kids' names. Do you know when he's like Aaron?
What is it called? Is it called substitute teacher?
Yeah.
I can't remember. You guys know which one. It's a very popular viral video. Key and Peele.
Yeah, and it's so funny. It's about this substitute teacher that comes in and mispronounces everyone's name. Like for example, Denise. D-nice. Is there a D-nice here? And then she'd be like, do you mean Denise? It's so good. Anyway.
You have to watch it. Yeah. It's so good.
A side note. So anyway, the 7th strategy is keeping a progress journal. So it could be
interesting.
Just writing a little list of goals that you want to accomplish and like tasks and keep track of, how you're maybe tackling this particular insecurity that you have, any little accomplishments that you have in there, as well as maybe some positive things you find about yourself or any compliments that you might receive from other people.
Good. Yeah. I like that one. I think that's a good one for those that want to like tackle the insecurity. Like you really want to just like get rid of it or become better at whatever.
No, exactly.
That could be a really good strategy. And I have one to add.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Since I think one of our previous episodes, we talked about social media and how we compare ourselves.
Yes.
So maybe limiting the time. If one of your insecurities comes from you comparing yourself to other people and constantly feeling like you're not pretty enough, you're not successful enough, you're not exciting enough, whatever it is, then you need to like take a step back and maybe realize that you're spending a little too much time on certain platforms, or maybe you're following people that are not necessarily giving you the good vibes.
Exactly.
You're following people that are making you feel a certain way. So that's another thing that, you could do I
think, and we talked about this earlier as well, and I echo this again, is to surround yourself with, you have like your go-to people that you talk to about, maybe one or two people, I don't know, whatever floats your boat or whatever you need, but also in general, like the friendship group that you have. And again, this can be hard to do, but if you have those like really toxic people in your life that are bringing you down, that are really not supporting of you, I think you need to acknowledge that. And actually, maybe you don't need those people in your life that are bringing you down, because, part of dealing with insecurities, a lot of where insecurity stems from is from what other people are saying about you. Right. So, and how other people are reacting to whatever you're doing. And if you have like super negative people in your life that are always bringing you down, it can be hard to combat that insecurity. Even if you follow the 7 or 8 steps that we suggested, it can still be like you're constantly having someone beating you down. It's just going to be like, it's a toxic environment to be in,
It's like being in junior high.
Oh, God damn.
All the time.
Oh, God damn.
Seriously.
With them junior high kids,
I wonder how kids are dealing with, things now that there is social media, there is, internet.
Yeah.
God,
because now
that's even worse.
I think it is worse in a sense that like, because before with kids, I think I saw an article about this, and before with kids, if you think about like when we went to school, if something was going on, generally like as soon as you left school, you left that problem with you, if you know what, or at the school, you know what I mean? Because you would leave, you would go home, and that kid didn't have access to you, right? Whereas now with social media, that can follow you everywhere you go. So like that person can bully you, but then they can also cyberbully you. So it's like 24/7 bullying.
Oh God.
So if people
That's
are
awful.
I know, if people are like attacking you and stuff.
Yeah.
So oh God damn. But luckily there's there are like for kids that are going through that, there's like lots of helplines and stuff like that. And I think that they can contact and get in touch with. But it'd be scary as all hell.
That is scary.
Because it follows you now, that stuff. So God damn.
Yeah. So I hope that was interesting, guys. Let us know.
Our little opening up about insecurities, talking about some of our insecurities. And
I discovered that Daniel don't got much insecurities.
No, oh my God damn, Roses. It's because I'm like unprepared. I mean, I shouldn't have to think about it. It should just like roll off my tongue. I just can't particularly think about, we'll do another episode and I'll bring one of them up. Okay. Damn.
We're going to do another one diving deep into Daniel's psyche.
One of my insecurities is Skyping with Rose. Okay. But I deal with that on a weekly basis. Damn. I go to bed crying every night.
Oh, God damn. I'll be one of those toxic relationships you'd be talking about. You. Daniel gonna cut me out.
No, I'm kidding.
We be the end of this podcast.
You are not a toxic relationship, because we support each other a lot. You know what I mean? So like for those listeners, like obviously this is just banter and we're like joking around and stuff. But like Rose is also a really good friend. Like she's very supportive, and if I'm having a problem, I know I can message her, even if it's like ridiculous o'clock in Calgary, and when she wakes up she'll see all my like frantic messages and offer words of support and help and helpfulness. So otherwise I would have cut you out a long time ago.
Oh goddamn, that'd be true as hell. Anyways, guys, hopefully that was I don't know, helpful, informative.
A fun little episode for you. And as always, if there are topics or things that you want us to talk about, feel free to leave them in the comment section. Shout out to us. Let us know. Because we just love talking about everything, basically. So
clearly. We always go to like 1.5 hour mark. I mean, this is a pretty short one. It's a little bit over an hour so far.
God damn.
That's impressive for us. We kept it under hour and a half. Anyways, guys, if you want to hear Daniel's coming out story, which I really enjoyed that episode where we dove deep into Daniel's psyche. That's already on Patreon.
Yeah.
So if you want to support us on Patreon, you can listen to Daniel's coming out story, which we had we become a little bit more vulnerable or raw in our Patreon because it's limited to a certain amount of people.
Exactly.
So that's there.
Yeah, and we have a lot of other episodes on there as well. And in addition to that, we do record an exclusive monthly episode just for Patreon. So my coming out story was last month. We're going to do another one this month. So you again get access to that if you go onto Patreon. So check it out.
But if not, that's totally fine. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you listen to us, follow us on whatever podcast platform. That just by you listening, that is supporting us. So that's great.
And tell your friends and family, and
tell your what is the thing? Tell your kids.
Oh yeah.
Tell your
oh my god. What was it? Yeah.
Tell
your children. Tell your wives. Tell your husbands. They be everywhere.
He said something a little bit more vulgar, but we won't say it.
I won't say it.
Okay. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.